The Middle East has long been a region of simmering tensions and shifting alliances. However, recent events suggest a particularly alarming possibility, a direct conflict between Turkey and Israel. Though once allies, the two countries have experienced a dramatic deterioration in relations. Several factors contribute to this dangerous trajectory. First, the collapse of the Assad regime in Syria has created a power vacuum. Both Turkey and Israel are vying for influence in the war-torn nation. Turkey, seeking to establish a buffer zone against Kurdish forces and project its power, has launched military incursions into northern Syria. It now controls a significant portion of territory. Israel, concerned about Iranian entrenchment along its border, has conducted airstrikes against Iranian-backed targets within Syria. Second, Turkey's increasingly close ties with Hamas, the Palestinian militant group that controls the Gaza Strip, further inflame tensions with Israel. Turkey provides a safe haven for Hamas operatives, including senior leaders like Saleh al-Aruri. These individuals coordinate attacks against Israel from Turkish soil. Erdogan's fiery rhetoric, often laced with anti-Semitic tropes, exacerbates the situation. Third, the personal ambitions of Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan play a significant role in this volatile mix. Erdogan, who harbors dreams of restoring Turkey to its Ottoman glory, has adopted an increasingly aggressive foreign policy. He seeks to position Turkey as the leader of the Sunni Muslim world, often at the expense of regional stability. His assertive stance has alienated former allies and emboldened adversaries. The convergence of these factors has created a tinderbox in the eastern Mediterranean. Any miscalculation or provocation could ignite a conflict with devastating consequences for the region and beyond. To understand the escalating tensions between Turkey and Israel, one must grasp the driving force behind Turkey's regional ambitions: President Recep Tayyip Erdogan. Erdogan, who has ruled Turkey for over 2 decades, has overseen a dramatic shift in the country's foreign policy. Gone are the days of Turkey's cautious approach, focused on maintaining good relations with its neighbors and Western allies. In its place is a more assertive, even belligerent Turkey, eager to project its power and influence far beyond its borders. Erdogan's vision for Turkey is rooted in a nostalgic longing for the glory days of the Ottoman Empire. He sees Turkey as the natural leader of the Sunni Muslim world, destined to play a pivotal role on the global stage. This neo-Ottoman ambition, however, puts Turkey on a collision course with other regional powers, including Israel. The two countries' interests clash most prominently in Syria, where Turkey's support for Islamist-leaning rebel groups directly undermines Israel's security concerns. Adding fuel to the fire is Erdogan's deep-seated animosity towards Israel. He frequently engages in inflammatory rhetoric, accusing Israel of apartheid and genocide. His government has forged close ties with Hamas, allowing the militant group to operate freely within Turkey. This support extends beyond mere words. Turkey reportedly provides Hamas with financial assistance, military training, and a platform for propaganda. Erdogan's pursuit of regional hegemony, fueled by his neo-Ottoman aspirations and anti-Israel sentiment, has transformed Turkey into a major source of instability in the Middle East. His actions have alienated traditional allies, emboldened adversaries, and raised the specter of a wider conflict. While Erdogan's regional ambitions contribute significantly to the escalating tensions with Israel, his domestic political calculations also play a crucial role. Facing mounting pressure at home, Erdogan may be tempted to escalate external conflicts as a way to rally nationalist sentiment and divert attention from his government's failings. Turkey's economy is in dire straits, plagued by soaring inflation, high unemployment, and a depreciating currency. The Turkish lira has plummeted in value, eroding the purchasing power of ordinary citizens. Erdogan's economic mismanagement and unorthodox policies, such as his insistence on lowering interest rates despite rising inflation, have exacerbated the situation. Adding to Erdogan's woes is growing public discontent with his increasingly authoritarian rule. Since a failed coup attempt in 2016, Erdogan has cracked down on dissent, jailing journalists, academics, and political opponents. He has also consolidated his power, transforming Turkey's parliamentary system into a presidential one that grants him sweeping authority. These internal pressures create a dangerous dynamic. Facing economic turmoil and a restive population, Erdogan may be tempted to manufacture an external crisis to shore up his waning popularity. A limited conflict with Israel, carefully calibrated to appeal to nationalist sentiment without spiraling out of control, could serve this purpose. By portraying himself as a defender of Islam against a common enemy, Erdogan could rally his base and deflect attention from his domestic woes. A war between Turkey and Israel would be a catastrophe not only for the two countries involved, but also for the wider region and the international community. The conflict would likely draw in other actors, potentially igniting a broader conflagration in an already volatile region. The involvement of the United States, a close ally of both Turkey and Israel, would be all but guaranteed. Washington would face the unenviable task of trying to mediate between two warring allies, each with legitimate security concerns. The Biden administration has already expressed concern over Turkey's increasingly aggressive posture in the region, but it remains unclear whether it has the leverage to rein in Erdogan. Another wildcard is Russia, which has a significant military presence in Syria. Moscow has so far tolerated Israel's airstrikes against Iranian-backed targets, but a wider conflict involving Turkey could force Russia's hand. The Kremlin might feel compelled to intervene to protect its interests, potentially leading to a direct confrontation with Turkey, a NATO member. The economic consequences of a war would also be severe. Turkey and Israel are both major economic powers in the region. A conflict would disrupt trade, destabilize financial markets, and send shockwaves throughout the global economy. The flow of energy resources, particularly natural gas from the eastern Mediterranean to Europe, could also be disrupted, further exacerbating existing energy shortages. The international community must take steps to prevent this nightmare scenario from becoming a reality. Diplomatic efforts should focus on de-escalating tensions, promoting dialogue between Turkey and Israel, and addressing the underlying issues that fuel the conflict. Failure to act decisively could have catastrophic consequences, not only for the Middle East, but for the entire world. If you found this analysis insightful, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us bring you more in-depth content.